6481. That's
You are live.
800-575-6481. Tax Relief
I didn't expect
Advocates.
to have to
Real
do all the-
solutions for real
I thought it would
people.
just do it. Like,
It's
why
never
isn't it
too
already
early to
done?
start thinking about your
I
retirement
guess if
journey,
it's just
and
a
it's never
room
too
that we
late
go
either.
into, but we
You
still
just
have to,
need to
like,
know that the steps may
name the
look a little
show.
different. Listen to Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg, Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, the highways are looking a lot better since the weather pushed through. This traffic reports a service of Financial and Tax Strategies. Westbound Highway 70 just kind of slow, 270 out to Earth City, and from TR Hughes past Highway K. If you're on westbound 64, from about the Tam overpass out through Big Bend is busy. There's some slow stuff around Topgolf, and then 364 out to 70, the usual busier stretch there. South 270, south of Olive to 64, a little busy in Manchester, midway down to Doherty Ferry. Then it opens up. They finally cleared that tractor trailer earlier fire. We had westbound 44, 270. 44 just has a couple of slow spots west of 270 through Bowles. Southbound 55 barely slow at base. They cleared the crash near Z, so that's all thinned out. Eastbound 70, heavy east of the Musel Veterans Bridge over to 64. Westbound 55, 70, 203 to Exchange, heavy. And it looks like that rain is moving through. I'm seeing delays around Highland and Marine on Interstate 70. More specifically, it looks like westbound there. 47 at Clearview, they're clearing a crash. Next update at 5:20 from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
You're listening to the Redbird Rush Hour on 104.1 KMOX.
All right, 5 o'clock hour here on 104.1 KMOX. That's the Redbird Rush Hour leading into Sports Open Line. Coming out of the baseball game earlier. Matt Pauley and Kevin Wheeler with you here. And obviously you can watch on the KMOX Sports Twitter handle, on the YouTube page, on our Facebook page. It's all out there for you if you want to watch us and throw in your comments that way. You can text if you'd like. Throw out the number, Matt.
314-436-7900.
It's the same one as it always is.
Yes.
Same. So you can always text.
You caught me
into the
off guard
show.
there because you've
I
said
know.
that number probably more often than I
Oh my
have
God,
in your
a
life.
bazillion times.
Yeah.
A bazillion times. But feel free to join us via the text line or in the comments section on the video stream, which you can access on all of the major social media outlets. We're going to kick it around here until we get to the end of this hour, and then, of course, Sports Open Line after the 6 o'clock hour. Let's start just simple, Matt. First week is basically up. The first 6 games, your first homestand is up. You go 4-2. There was a lot of good, and there were a couple of problems. So let's start with the good, and then we'll kind of build from there. And we'll include some of the highlights from today, like Ivan Herrera being the star of the game and the decision to leave Sonny Gray in there with the bases. A lot to get to from today, but I want to go like overarching 6 games, homestands over, 4-2 is a fine outcome.
Yes, and the 2 losses were both in extra innings.
Right, and in all honesty, if you'd done a couple of things a little better, you might have won at least one of those,
if not both.
And like yesterday, for example, you got bases loaded, 1 out, with a chance with the winning run on third, and you don't get him in. That was Jordan Walker, and it's hard to be tough on Jordan Walker because he's off to a good start. That's right. I can't really be like, you got to figure it out. I mean, he's hitting the ball hard pretty much every time up. Hit a home run in that same game, so. Can't really be too hard on him, but some missed opportunities.
Yeah, the point you can identify moments in each of those 2 losses where if it would have gone in the other direction, you probably would have won the game.
Just as simple, maybe even as one reliever being a little better.
Yeah,
Ryan Fernandez is struggling the last couple times out. It's going to happen over the course of 162. What we don't know yet is what it means big picture. Let's just go over the I think the best things that we've seen so far. Sorry, but I'm going to do the disclaimer. It doesn't mean we believe or are suggesting that all of these things will last because we don't know. But through the first 6 games, the offense is a story.
It is.
I mean, you're getting more than 10 hits per game. The Cardinals are the first major league team in a decade to get 10 or more hits in each of their first 6 games. So they're hitting the ball. They're hitting the ball out of the ballpark. Nootbaar's got a couple of homers. Herrera went deep 3 times today. Arenado went deep. I think the offense is the story.
They have a team batting average just under 300. They have a team OPS just under 900. They've put up these huge offensive numbers without Wilson Contreras and Mason Wynn doing much of anything until they both contributed.
That's a great point
in the game today. This has been, and also just everybody poke this in the back of your head and then bring it back up. This goes to show you that what happens during spring doesn't necessarily mean anything going into the regular season because the Cardinals look terrible in spring training offensively.
No, that's a good point.
They have been just fine from Jump Street.
And the perfect example of that on the opposite side is Wilson Contreras.
Yeah,
he crushed for 6 weeks and now he's not hitting. That's the nature of offense. It does come and go, and you just need to be as a team a bit more consistent and a bit more productive. Now, one of the guys that I think is going to help make that happen is Ivan Herrera. And not just because of 3 home runs today, although that's part of why he's the discussion today. I mean, he hit 3 tanks, including a grand slam, and 2 of them were moonshots. I mean, we're talking hitting the Big Mac sign on a fly, and I mean, that ball got out in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, quick.
And the other one was well up into Big Mac land. I mean, this is a guy that's got legitimate offensive ability. The defense is a question. It's a major question. On opening day, was talking about the catchers with John Mozeliak leading into the game, and I was like, I'm describing Herrera. You got a really good hitting catcher who's a work in progress on defense, and his kind of jokingly said, "Oh, being generous today." Like, they know his throwing is a problem. I don't think his blocking and receiving is that big of a problem.
I don't
but the throwing is a problem. But when you're hitting like this, who cares?
Yeah, so he had a historic game today for the Cardinals. 3+ home runs in a game. A Cardinals catcher has never done that. Total bases, 12 of them. A Cardinals catcher has never done that. No one's even done 11.
Yeah.
Wilson Contreras, Mike Gonzalez, Yadier Molina, and Ted Simmons were tied in first place with 10. Youngest St. Louis catcher to have a multi-home run game since Ted Simmons had one at age 24. The Cardinals sent us all these notes, and the names that you see on there, whether it's a Dale Murphy or a Paul Goldschmidt or a Wilson Contreras or a Gary Carter, like those are some of the names that he's either surpassing or is right there with in some of the things he did today from an offensive standpoint.
Yeah.
He can be a difference-making middle-of-the-order bat. And Kevin, bluntly, that's why we spent so much time talking in the offseason about how important it was that the Cardinals make him essentially the everyday catcher.
Yeah,
and
he needs the at-bats.
Does it look terrible when he throws a ball, way like where Mason Wynn is catching it in shallow right center field? Yeah, it looks terrible. When he forgets what the count is and you lose a base runner because of it, is that a really bad mental mistake in that moment? Yeah, it is. Like, I'm not letting him off the hook for those things, but I also kind of am, because you know what? If he keeps hitting the way he's hitting right now, his defense actually doesn't have to get any better, and he's still going to help the team win a lot more games than they lose.
As long as he's not getting crossed up with pitchers and giving them a hard time, and as long as he's framing pitches the way that he's expected to and blocking the balls in the dirt, you're going to get by. Because the offense will outweigh, over time, the loss on the base paths.
Yes.
And I'll tell you this, I don't think he's going to be your catcher in 3 years.
I don't either.
In 3 years, he's going to be playing first base or DHing because Contreras' contract will be up.
Yeah.
They will have the flexibility to put him there, and whether it's Pages or Crooks or Bernal, those guys are all better defensive catchers. They will have this solution at some point. But for this year, they got to score more runs, and that's a really, really big deal.
I love Pages as the backup catcher. Like, I think he is the perfect backup catcher in Major League Baseball. His bat's respectable. He's really good defensive guy, great in the clubhouse. Like, he checks every single box. But if you're lucky enough, as the Cardinals have been for the last 2 years, with Contreras last year and Herrera this year, if you're lucky enough to have a plus offensive player who can hit the way those two guys can hit, and we'll see, Jimmy Crooks might be on, maybe not from a power standpoint, that same trajectory, but he's certainly on the trajectory of being a plus offensive bat as well.
Could be. And look, this is not fluky, right? I mean, Ivan Herrera has 176 games at AAA, so a bit more than a full season. But an 867 OPS, 110 runs batted in, 21 home runs. I mean, that's not fluky. And he hit last year when he was up here too, and that was in 258 plate appearances. So he's legitimately a bat, and the throwing's got to get fixed. And I know they're working on it. And that's something that Ali Marmol talked about on the Gas House Gang yesterday. With Tom and Ranj and Bernie. And they're talking about it. They're going to get him throwing from his knees to see if that helps. It could, but it's not a catch-all, right? So there's a sacrifice. When you throw from your knees, you typically lose accuracy and velocity. Mm-hmm. Velocity is his problem, but the answer to that is usually trying to get the ball out of your hand faster to increase or to shorten your exchange time. So if you can knock a tenth off your exchange time, it's okay to lose a couple miles an hour. So if that's going to be the case, the loss of velocity is not that big of a deal, but the accuracy is going to be. It's worth trying, but it's not necessarily a great fix.
The velocity is also a little bit better this year than it was last year. So if nothing else, you go back to kind of where he was at previously with less mistakes.
All right, so that's Ivan Herrera, the story of the day, and I think a big guy to have as a part of this lineup, and I think somebody we're going to be talking about a lot, not just this year, but in the coming years, with that legit bat. We have a lot of other things to get to. We're going to talk about Sonny Gray coming up in a few minutes. We're going to talk about this first week for Jordan Walker, how important that is, Victor Scott. A lot to get to after 6 games. We'll keep it going with the Redbird Rush Hour here on 104.1 KMOX.
Traffic from the michaelsflooringoutlet.com traffic center.
It's a service of Inter Park Holdings. If you're traveling westbound on 44, we got more of a backup now. Looks like there's an incident of Bowles. It's backed up to the Merrimack. Still slow west of there to 141. Some more rain moving through the area as well in that stretch right now. That could be part of the problem. Westbound 64, a little slow at Boyle from the Science Center running out through McCausland. And then in St. Charles County, west of K, midway to Winghaven in 364 to 70. Again, they're just slowdowns, but it is busy. South 270, Olive down to 64, and south of Clayton Road to about Doherty Ferry is off the pace on that run. Westbound 70 is looking good all the way out until you get to about TR Hughes through Highway K. It's just kind of slow in that area. Southbound 170 bogs down from Ladue to 64. Southbound 55 seeing a little more volume. Gasconade Bates looks good in Jefferson County. They were working to clear that crash. Looks like they did clear it eastbound 44 at 50, but there's still a jam about midway in from St. Clair to 50 of over a mile. So there's still backed up traffic in the area there. On the Illinois side, eastbound 70 still slow past Packers Avenue over to 64. And I'm seeing a jam westbound 70 approaching 143 and Marine. Looks like we have problems there. Make game day parking easy with iParkit with 2 convenient locations on Clark Avenue right next to the ballpark. Download the iParkit app and drive in and out using your license plate. Choose iParkit for convenience and peace of mind. Next update at 5:30 from the michaelsflooringoutlet.com traffic center.
How many of you think taxes are going to go up in the future? And if they do, who will be hit the hardest? Maybe it's you, headed for retirement. You've been saving in that 401k or IRA, and that money has never been taxed. And Uncle Sam is looking at that account like it's a big, juicy steak. What can you do about it? Join the All Financial Group for their Taxes in Retirement Seminar, Tuesday, April 8th or Thursday, April 10th at Stone Summit. They believe you can't have a retirement plan without a tax plan. So fund your retirement, not Uncle Sam's. Reserve your spot today by calling 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824 or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
Experience the exhilarating atmosphere of a Cardinals game. Join the sea of red in the wave around the stadium. Feel the rush of excitement as a home run lights up the sky with fireworks, bringing the whole ballpark to their feet. Nothing beats the thrill of watching the Cards get the W with the final out at the plate. It's more than a game. It's an experience. Visit Cardinals.com for tickets and info. St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
There is no better way to enjoy America's favorite pastime than cheering on the Cardinals with your family at Busch Stadium. From the thrill of watching the game to the kid-friendly activities, food, and fun, the ballpark has it all. Make magical memories as you cheer together for every home run, double play, and Cards win. Your family's summer tradition starts here at Busch Stadium. Grab your tickets today at Cardinals.com. St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. So tell them today, I love you. Get screened. It could help save their life. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
You're listening to the Redbird Rush Hour on 104.1 KMOX.
All right, Redbird Rush Hour, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. We got a couple comments we're going to get to a little later, so hang tight because a couple people brought up the attendance at the games this week, and it's a topic, and we got a couple different things we want to hit on that coming up a little bit later on in the show. We're going to talk about Jordan Walker. I just want to talk about the one downside today. It's not a big deal, but it's something that I think is a broader theme that we've talked about before, and we talked about a lot on the Gas House Gang over the course of the offseason. Is that one? I'm an Ollie fan. I like the guy. I want him to do well. He's had some weaknesses. One of them was building a lineup. Well, he seems to have kind of gone in the right direction on that. So good. Tip of the cap. I'm glad he's managed the bullpen very well over the last couple of years. Much credit for that. But I still think he defers too much to veterans. And I know the bullpen was thin today, but the decision to leave Sonny Gray in there with the bases loaded and nobody out in a 2-run game was a mistake. And you can't, I don't know what the case was, and I didn't hear what he said about it afterwards or what Sonny said, but if that was a case of the player talking his way to stay in the game, you can't let that happen there. Your better matchup there is Maton.
Right.
Your better matchup is the guy that's not, keep in mind, Sonny was at 86 pitches before the home run. Yeah, that was pitch number 87. He only topped 90 pitches in half of his starts last year. So he was already above where you would normally, this was a normal full start for him last year, was like upper 80s in pitches. And we're talking a week and a half ago, we were talking about how he's still behind. So I get it. I know the bullpen was taxed, but in a 2-run game there with the bases loaded and nobody out, I don't think the right move is the guy that's been behind schedule down on Velo, although Velo was better today.
It was.
And obviously tiring a little bit. Because there were 2 hard hit balls earlier in that inning too.
So a few things on this. First off, if I'm making that call, I'm pulling him in that moment. I'm bringing Maton in.
Yeah.
Maton was supposed to be your closer today. If they've got Maton warming in the 7th inning,
it's the big spot.
That means they've identified that as a big moment.
Amen.
And you ended up bringing him anyways in what turned into kind of a meaningless inning because the runs had already scored. So you kind of wasted Maton in that spot. If you're not going to use him in the 9th, well, then use them in a big moment, and you lost that opportunity when the grand slam was hit. So that's the first thing. I do think what was going on with the bullpen and the bullpen helping to dictate decisions was a thing today, and you were going to try to get as much out of your starter. I think
totally get it.
As much as I would have made that move, I don't think Ali not making that move is for non-legitimate reasons. I think it's a very legitimate thing to look at the bullpen situation and try to push your starter as far as you can.
Not after 2 hard hit balls and a hit by pitch.
He probably pushed.
He's got to come out there.
The 0-2 hit by pitches, 2 0-2 hit by pitches today.
Yeah, in the game.
Has Gray ever done that in his career?
Probably not.
2 0-2 hit by pitches.
But it's a sign of fatigue when you're missing that big.
Sure. So that's part of it. I think one of the big things that you mentioned is that the deferring to make your decision before you go out
maybe
there.
He did.
Maybe he did. The other thing that's not being talked about, and Mike Claiborne and I talked about this a little bit at the end of the game, should have they made a roster move coming into
Good
today?
question. Let's talk about that next.
Okay.
Let's get into that because that's a good point. We need to continue talking about the bullpen because the bullpen's been worked a lot the last couple of days, and there are a couple of guys struggling. I think it's a good point. Maybe there should have been a roster move coming into today. We'll get into that. We're going to talk about Jordan Walker. We'll talk about attendance, all that coming up. It's the Redbird Rush Hour on 104.1 KMOX.
Baseball fans, take a swing at making entries on all of your favorite players with Underdog. This is Tom Ackerman, a proud Underdog player, and baseball is officially back. You can make every game day more exciting with Underdog. Underdog, one of the leading sports apps. You can play now in the state of Missouri. You want to win with up to 1,000 times your money going into your pocket? You can with Underdog. Just download the Underdog app and play by choosing whether a player will go higher or lower on one of their stats. That's all you have to do. Download the Underdog app and sign up now using promo code TOM to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus credits when you make your first deposit. Join in on the fun when you sign up with promo code TOM. Claim your special offer today and get up to $1,000 in bonus credits instantly upon first deposit. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Hey, it's Debbie Monterey for Window Nation. April is a great time to spruce up around your house, especially during Window Nation's Buy 4, Get 4 free sale going on now. There's no limit to how much you could save, and if you buy a house full of windows, they'll include a free entry door too. Plus, you could get new windows and pay nothing until 2027. Just imagine what you could do with all that extra money. Sale ends soon, so hurry and schedule your estimate by calling 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com.
Beat the spring cleaning rush and call our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. This month, get 3 rooms Zero Resified starting at $119. Take $75 off your air duct cleaning. Visit ZeroResSTL.com and tell them that KMOX sent you. Spell it forward, spell it backward. It's always the same, Zero Res.
At California Psychics, we know that when you haven't found love, it feels like everyone else has. Every movie has a love interest. Every song is a love song. Where are all the songs about cats? Or the joy of early bedtimes? And of course, the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to help you find the one. We connect you with the very best. In fact, 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us don't make the grade. That's why we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. Download the app or connect with us at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So you could be feeling all lovey-dovey real soon. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
When you're trying to find quality candidates, all the searching, screening, and interviewing can become a job itself. You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to interview, screen, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com traffic center.
Well, westbound Highway 70 looks like we have a crash in Metro East. There's a jam from about Silver Lake over to the Marine exit at 143, bumper to bumper through there right now. That's the biggest jam on the Illinois side. A little slow westbound 5570 around Exchange where we had that earlier emergency repair work. Westbound 70 still a little busy. Both sides of Highway K. 370's thinned out. South 270 is just kind of slow. Olive to Ladue, and then Clayton Road down to about Doherty Ferry busy. Westbound 64, Kings Highway headed out through Big Bend is off the pace. There's a slowdown at K, a couple spots really between there and Winghaven, and then 364 out to the Boulevard, and then you're in the clear. Westbound 44 is still slow. Mirage through Bowles, and then it opens up. Eastbound 44 is finally cleared out between St. Clair and 50 from that earlier crash. Southbound 55 a little busy at Bates, but it looks great for you down in Jefferson County. I'm Roger Brand in the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
At 5:31, we have clouds and 67 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Maria Aquina. The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. A tornado warning in effect for Bond County in Illinois until 6 this evening. There are reports of a tornado on the ground in Greenville, Illinois. That's about an hour east of St. Louis. You heard Roger there mention about the traffic jams in Marine. That's due to the storms moving through the area. So far, we are not under any watches or warnings for the immediate St. Louis metro area, except a tornado watch remains in effect until 7 o'clock tonight. That was set to expire at 6, but the city of St. Louis says now it's been extended. An update on power outages in the bi-state. Ameren reports over 2,300 in Missouri and just over 2,000 in Illinois. Governor Mike Kehoe activating the Missouri National Guard to assist with response efforts for the ongoing severe storms that have caused or have the potential to cause damage resulting from tornadoes, straight-line winds, large hail, heavy rains, flooding, and flash flooding. While the severe storms may have moved out of the immediate St. Louis metro area, prolonged rains are in the forecast starting tomorrow afternoon through Sunday afternoon. In other news this afternoon, the St. Louis Police Department is sharing their latest crime numbers.
The numbers show the third lowest amount of homicides in the first 3 months of a year since 1990 with 23. St. Louis City Police Chief Robert Tracy addressing questions about the numbers on a per capita basis.
But the per capita stays similar for the last 10, 15 years, right?
However, census data shows the city of St. Louis's population since 2010 has declined from around 320,000 to just under 280,000 last year, over a 12% dip. That said, the 23 homicides do show a nearly 50% drop since 2021 and a steep decline from 40 homicides at this time last year. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
St. Louis remains under a tornado watch until 7 this evening tonight. Rain and thunderstorms end by 8 o'clock at the latest. Then skies will clear. We'll still see windy conditions, though, with a low of 52 degrees. A flood watch goes into effect tomorrow morning at 7 through late Saturday into Sunday morning. For Thursday, rain, some storms developing going through the day with a high of 62 degrees. Dave Murray says these will not be severe, though. The problem, just the heavy rains, and that'll be the case tomorrow night. Periods of rain and spot storms, a low of 48 degrees. And then Friday, rain, some thunderstorms, 63. Still the same situation for Friday night. Rain and storms, heavy at times with a low of 51 degrees. And don't forget, we still do have that tornado watch in effect for the St. Louis area until 7 o'clock this evening. That flood watch goes into effect tomorrow morning at 7. Right now, it's 68 degrees in St. Peter's, 67 in Florissant, and downtown of the Arch, we have 67 degrees. I'm Maria Aquina, in for Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Farming's hard. To feed the world, farmers have to work the land, brave the elements, and fight the battle against weeds. Weeds reduce crop yields, so prices go up and everybody gets less to eat. But 50 years ago, farmers got a new tool to fight weeds, glyphosate. It kills weeds while protecting the harvest. Time and again, it has been approved by the EPA and by leading regulatory bodies around the world. It helps enable practices that reduce erosion and keep soil healthy, which is good for the earth. Farming's hard, but it's a little easier with glyphosate. Learn more at go.bayer.com/glyphosate, paid for by Bayer.
Let me tell you one of the reasons I think we became the largest injury firm in the world, and it's not even close. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. My wife and I had a plan early on. In our firm, our lawyers only work on certain types of cases. Our products liability and dangerous drug lawyers only work on those cases. Same for car crashes, workers' compensation, medical malpractice, and insurance disputes. Our thinking is for these lawyers to focus on one area of the law and live it and breathe it. Power comes from knowledge. Many lawyers do everything, jack of all trades. Not us. And we don't charge an hourly rate. You only pay us if we win. If you want to hire us, it's easy. Dial Pound Law on your cell phone, pound 529, or visit forthepeople.com on your phone or computer from the comfort of your own home. Let us get to work for you. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
The St. Louis Symphony Orchestra presents Brahms' Violin Concerto, Friendship and Solace, a journey through life, joy, loss, and rebirth. Conductor John Storgards and the SLSO explore the deep humanity of Brahms' Violin Concerto, performed by violinist Francesca Dago, and the epic journey of Sibelius's Lemminkäinen Suite, April 11th, 12th, and 13th at Unsel's Two Hill Performing Arts Center. Tickets at slso.org.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURY, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Community America Credit Union has a new branch in Hazelwood. Join me, Amy Markscores, special Cardinals alumni, and Redbird on April 10th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. for the grand opening. There'll be exciting prizes and delicious food. See you there.
Brought to you by Volley.
Volley.
Level up game night with Volley, the smart TV app for playing games like Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune, or test your knowledge with fun music quizzes and party games. Turn your TV into the ultimate game hub with the Volley app on your Roku or Fire TV. Download it and play today.
Volley.
This is the Redbird Rush Hour on 104.1 KMOX.
All right, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. We got a short segment here, Matt, but let's finish up that conversation about the bullpen. We're going to get to a few of the messages that are on our streaming side. So we got a couple from Facebook, one or two from YouTube. We'll throw those in. You're always welcome to throw in your opinions, your questions, whatever you want, and we'll be happy to mix those in as we go. We are going to talk about the attendance in just a little bit, so if you're looking forward to, if you've been wondering about it, you want to ask about it, we got a couple questions on that we're going to get to before the end of the show. Also want to talk about Jordan Walker a little bit as well. But let's talk about that bullpen issue that we were just kicking around.
Yeah.
Because you had two long games, and you knew you were going to be limited today, and you know that Sonny is not really, even last year when healthy, was not the 100-pitch guy.
Yeah, that's not who he is.
No, he was the 90-pitch guy, and however many innings or outs he can get out of that is what you're going to get out of it. And today he was great until the last couple batters. Really, it was only two things. You had like the hit by pitch and the grand slam. Everything else was kind of normal pitching, and he looked great, got strikeouts, did it all. Do you think maybe there should have been a bolstering of the bullpen, somebody going out, somebody coming in?
Yeah, I think that would have been a standard move to be made, and I looked at Chris Roycroft, who I really, really like. I'm an unabashed supporter of Chris Roycroft, but he had pitched in 2 straight games, I think.
So it would have been down today.
Yeah, having a fresh arm come in might have been worth not having Roycroft available for the next 10 days. I don't know. Like maybe that's not a completely fair thing to say.
Right. And certainly not great for the player.
Right. It's a bummer for them from a personal standpoint, but you know, there's so much talk about Gordon Graceffo being basically ready and the next guy. And he hadn't pitched at Memphis since Sunday. So that's a guy who could have come up. Now, somebody like Riley O'Brien pitched the night before for Memphis. So he's
so
probably
not going to call him.
a candidate. There were a bunch of guys who did pitch the night before that might have been a candidate to come up. But yeah, I think I was a little bit surprised when I walked into the ballpark today and there was not a roster move.
Good thing is they won the game.
Yep.
You got 3 home runs from your catcher, which helped a lot with that. And you continued on with the good homestand, and obviously off to Boston for a tough series starting on Friday. All right, we got Jordan Walker talk, attendance talk coming your way. It's the Redbird Rush Hour on 104.1 KMOX.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
This traffic report's a service of Volley Inc. If you're on westbound 70 in Metro East, we still have a jam from about Silver Lake to Marine at 143 there. We had storms moving through the area, and I believe there's an incident there. So it's bumper to bumper solid jam on westbound 70, again, approaching Marine from Silver Lake. That's the only jam we have on the area interstates. Westbound 64, Science Center out to McCausland's a little slow down. Midway out from K approaching Winghaven, but then it gets rolling. South 270 just busy from 64 down to Manchester. They had an incident south of Olive in the right lane. Traffic seems okay by there, and they were reporting an incident south of Ladue, but I don't see any delays there. Eastbound 64 a little heavy at the Interbelt. Southbound 55 thinned out. Gasconade through Bates. Westbound 141 or 30 rather from 141 out through the Gravois Bluffs area looks a little slow right now. And down the Illinois side, westbound 5570 still heavy west of 203 to 64. Next update at 5:50 from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
You're listening to the Redbird Rush Hour on 104.1 KMOX.
All right, picking it back up on the Redbird Rush Hour, 104.1 KMOX. Of course, also on our YouTube channel, KMOX Sports YouTube channel, Facebook page, Twitter account. You can stream us. We love you guys streaming. Hello, waving at you. And we'll get to some of your questions coming up in a second here. And we got a couple on the attendance. And I think that's an interesting topic. And we'll get into that in the next segment. Let's talk a bit about Jordan Walker.
Yeah.
Because, look, this whole season has been set up as like the time for runway, right? And that's been true look, Mason Wins doesn't need runway. He's your shortstop. We know that. There's no alternative. He was the starter last year. He was a Gold Glove finalist. Regardless of how he hits, he's your shortstop. He's not really in that conversation. But Victor Scott is in that conversation. He's off to a good start. He's already got 4 stolen bases in a week. Had a hit today, 1 for 3 with a walk. The creative bunt for a hit that really helped break things open. You had Ivan Herrera is one of those runway guys going 3 for 4 today, hitting 3 home runs and driving in 6. And then, of course, the other one of those guys is Jordan Walker, who's off to a good start this year. I mean, it's not perfect. He's missed on a couple of opportunities, but you're not going to be perfect. He's hitting, almost 400, which, again, stat doesn't matter, but he's hitting the ball hard on a regular basis. His single today was 116 miles an hour off the bat. So I think that's really encouraging to me that Walker he looks calm. He doesn't look like he's looking over his shoulder. There were times last year where he looked desperate, where he's like almost trying to stay in the big leagues. And he seems to be, maybe it's just the group of them and they all know this and they've all come up together. So they all know each other. Maybe it's just a comfort thing that we're seeing.
Maybe it looks good though. He, tiny sample size, 5 games, but he's hitting 389. His OPS is above 1,000. I am more encouraged, and I know we've seen this from him before, but it's the fact that he's just hitting the ball so hard and he's making pretty good contact. He only has 3 strikeouts and 18 at bats so far.
Yeah.
That's so for him to be hitting the ball hard, has had a number of exit velos in well into the hundreds, and from not to be striking out, hitting for average, it's really good to see. His only extra base hit still is the 1 home run that he's hit, but I'm not worried about that. I think it's been a really good start to the year for Jordan Walker, and you start to see glimpses of who you thought he was going to be and even who he was for the second half of the season 2 years ago.
The more I think about it, like he's just at this moment in time doesn't have the feel for hitting a lot of balls in the air.
Yeah.
They've been working on it. The adjustments that he's made, though, are mattering. He looks more athletic in the box. That's a big catchphrase amongst hitting coaches, just be athletic, right? Because you see a lot of guys and maybe they're standing too tall and stiff, or they don't have a wide enough base, so they don't look balanced. And one thing that's definitely different with Walker, and it's been highlighted a little bit on some of the TV games on FanDuel Sports Midwest because they show us the video, but his stride, like the distance between his 2 feet after his stride, is much wider than it was before. And for a big guy, it should be. If you don't have space there to work with, you can't rotate well enough, and I think that just getting some little tweaks is going to allow him to compete. And then eventually, like that ball he hit for a single today, that ball was hit 116 miles an hour.
Yeah.
But it was like it was a flat shot, right? 8-degree launch angle, whatever it was. That pitch was belt high. That's a ball I think when he starts to get even more comfortable, he's going to hit into Big Mac land.
So right now, his average exit velocity is about 91 miles per hour. That's about the 80th percentile. In Major League
that's
Baseball.
high end.
That's pretty good. His bat speed is at about 77 miles per hour,
which is high.
That's
end.
like 98, 99th percentile.
Let's put it this way. The only guy better than that on a regular basis is Stanton.
Yeah.
That's about Aaron Judge bat speed.
So those are, those numbers I just mentioned are somewhere between well above average and elite. And those type of numbers are going to help lead to other numbers. And you know what? The loft is going to come. Power is one of the last things that develops for young hitters, and the power goes along with the loft. At some point in time, that launch angle is going to change a little bit, and he's going to start hitting more doubles, and he's going to start hitting more home runs. But right now, let him hit the living you-know-what out of the baseball, and let him hit for average, and everything's going to be
It's fascinating. Like the last couple of years, and again, understandable from the team's view. I think something we can legitimately disagree with, but understandable that because they were in we're trying to compete mode, they moved on from younger players faster than they probably should have. In the case of Walker, we might have seen this before if you didn't send him down after a month, right?
Yes.
And I understand why they did it. Because especially if a guy's getting lost in his own thoughts, it's hard to fix that at the major league level. I understand it. But I also wonder, in retrospect, if it wouldn't have been better to just ride it out. If you had ridden it out 2 years ago, this might have been the guy you were looking at last year, and who knows what you'd be looking at now. But the point is, they reached that phase, and this will tie into our next conversation about the attendance, which we're going to get into from a couple of comments. But that will tie into all of the things that need to go together. The team finally realized the old way wasn't doing it. The old way of patching holes with old guys, and we're going to play a bench guy instead of a young potential star, because we want more certainty because we're trying to win. Well, you might end up being the better team just doing it this way because you're playing talent, not seniority or a more known commodity.
That's
right?
what we talked about all offseason. The most frustrating thing for me was everybody saying that this team was going to take a step back offensively. Why would they take a step back offensively? The player that is gone is Paul Goldschmidt. He didn't do much for you offensively. It was fair to think that Nolan Arenado would have some level of a bounce back. And then you got all these young players who are ready to take steps forward. It was the easiest thing in the world to see a very distinct possibility where the team takes a step forward offensively. That doesn't mean they're one of the best offensive teams, but one of the best run scoring teams in baseball. It just means they were going to be better than they were last year.
And again, a lot of that could just be having your guys out there, having Nootbaar. Look at the impact Nootbaar has when he's healthy. When he's out there, he's awfully good. All right, we're going to get to the attendance questions that we're having. And I think, again, valid points to talk about here, but it's not exactly unexpected. So we'll get a couple of different thoughts and some of your comments and questions on that topic when we come back on the Redbird Rush Hour here on 104.1 KMOX.
Listen up, fellow Gen Xers. Elizabeth Banks here. The recommended age for pneumococcal pneumonia vaccination has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. It's up to us to lead the way. We've done this before. Music videos, fanny packs, even the World Wide Web. Let's do it again and get vaccinated, because we're at over 6 times greater risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Gen X, this is our shot. Visit vaxassist.com and schedule a vaccine today. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Here's Comedians and Sketchers Getting Comfortable, presented by Hands-Free Skechers Slip-In.
Hey, I'm Bobby Slayton, and I'm here with my pal, comedian, and Skechers ambassador, Mr. Howie Mandel.
Why did it take so long to invent something as amazing as slip-ins? I know it seems simple, but it took Skechers to invent a better pair of shoes.
Yep, with Skechers slip-ins, you just step it and go. You don't have to touch your shoes. And by the way, slip-ins are for the whole family, men, women, and kids. In all your favorite Skechers styles, find Skechers slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Ready to make lake life a reality? With Anywhere Lombardo at Lake of the Ozarks, you can build a home designed just for you. Whether it's a cozy retreat or a luxurious lakeside escape, our custom designs bring your vision to life, set against stunning lake views and peaceful surroundings, the perfect balance of relaxation and adventure. With a trusted builder backed by long-standing vendor relationships, you'll enjoy cost savings and superior quality from start to finish. Start your dream home today with Anywhere Lombardo. Visit lombardohomes.com to learn more.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, we've got a new injury crash now, southbound 270 at Manchester. A fire department pumper just pulled up. They're blocking the 2 left lanes, south 270 at Manchester. Traffic's only jammed back to by the Clayton Road overpass, so it's not too extensive on south 270. And then we still have this jam on westbound 70 and Metro East from Silver Lake headed over to Marine. It's bumper to bumper through that area. We had earlier storms. But it's still stop and go that whole way through. It's over a mile of traffic jam there. Downtown, still a little heavy westbound 5570, 203 to 64, and eastbound 70 Packers Avenue to 64 is a little slow. Otherwise, the rest of these area interstates have thinned out pretty nice, so there is an incident reported. Southbound 21 just before M, but I don't see any delays there. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
You're listening to the Redbird Rush Hour on 1041 KMOX.
All right, back in on Redbird Rush Hour. Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. Obviously taking you up till the top of the hour, and then at the top of the hour, we've got Sports Open Line coming. I'm going to do a quick tease on that.
We'll keep the Cardinals conversation going. We've got a few guests as well, so be tuned in. For those of you watching on the video stream, you'll have to switch to a new video at 6 o'clock.
All right, so we got a few different questions about the attendance, and we're just going to kind of bring it all together. So I'm going to put them up on the screen as we go. I'm going to read all of them, too, because they're really short. But Kelly sent us a message through Facebook saying, what can we do to grow attendance? It's not looking good for the first homestand. We got a shorter one from Scott. A lot of empty seats. Hey, Kevin. Yeah. Today was announced at 20,000, but there weren't 20,000 people there. We can count.
Yeah.
You look with your eyes. It was definitely not that. And then the other one we got here was from Space. We got a message from Space that says, I do think that with the team having such an exciting games, attendance will start to pick up some after hockey season is over. I don't think that the Blues season or City are affecting the attendance. It's clearly dissatisfaction with the last few years of performance by the team. I think that if they play well and you look like a good competitive team for a month or two, the attendance will go back up. But this, to me, I feel weird about it. Like, I see these tweets every day, like, oh my God, another new low. I'm like, this is fully what we expected. The team expected it. They announced it. They said, we expect attendance to be down, and we know that the TV revenue is going down, so we're cutting payroll. They flat out said those things out loud. Maybe maybe it's still jarring. I'm not going to lie. Like, today was jarring. That looked like a Tampa Bay Rays game.
Mm-hmm.
But it was expected, and there's only one way out of it.
Winning.
And that's to play well for an extended period of time.
I get the only thing that really actually kind of bothers me is there's a group of fans out there that take victory laps on this. Like, anytime you see a bad attendance number, it's the sell the team people, it's the fire Mo people. It's, there's a group of people who are trying to take a victory lap over the attendance numbers. And that bugs me a little bit. I don't like, that's not where I would be focusing my energy, my efforts, especially for a team that has started off the season playing pretty well. But to your point, they knew this is what it was going to be. The fans started really talking by not showing up to games.
That's right.
Last season.
It started in 23, but last year was a little more stark.
Yeah, absolutely. They did not get to the 3 million fans last year, and they're likely not to get there this year if these current numbers do continue. So the fans have spoken. It's up to the Cardinals to go play much better baseball and bring the fans back.
And for a period of time. I mean, and I think the team knows this. I mean, they've all said it in various ways, sometimes directly, sometimes indirectly. And look, this is normal, right? When a customer base is unhappy, the way that they show you that they're unhappy is they don't go to your business, right? So if you run a restaurant and you go there and I have a bad meal, I'm probably not going to go back, at least for a while, unless I start seeing, oh my God, reviews, they got a new chef or they new management and they fix things. It's a simple process, and I never begrudge fans for demanding what they expect.
But I would also add this one other kind of, this is going to sound a little honky, but that's okay. They did a lot of work in the offseason to change the game day presentation because it had gotten very, very stale. You know, there if you weren't there if you were there just for the baseball, well, the rest of the presentation left something to be desired. I give a lot of credit to the organization. They are doing a lot of different things this year, even stuff on the board. Not like there's no longer 9,000 first pitches before the game and things like that. So that they've done a nice job with that. They're going to have a DJ there on Friday nights. They're doing, obviously the baseball is the most important thing.
Yeah.
But if you want to go and have a good time and enjoy it, I think the Cardinals have made some nice tweaks. So start playing better baseball, win games, get fans out. I think when fans are in the ballpark, they're going to have an experience that was actually better than what it was previously.
Yeah, and look, the Cardinals built the reputation for success, which is what they were able to do to sell 3 million tickets a year for 20 years, right? I mean, they did that, but they also did the thing that made people stop coming, right? Your free agent moves weren't working. You didn't develop pitchers, in particular starting pitchers. You missed out on, you haven't developed a star. Since who? I mean, like hitter, like a star hitter. Who's the biggest star out of your system since Molina? I mean, it's a long ways off.
It was going to be Tavares.
Well, that was the idea, and hopefully it'll be these guys. Hopefully these guys and JJ Weatherholt start to change that, and we'll look forward to seeing how it plays out. But we got a long way to go, man. Only 6 games in, so plenty of time to figure all this out. Matt, have a good show, buddy.
All right, sounds good.
Sports Open Line's coming up after the top of the hour news. We'll be back in this hour tomorrow with another Redbird Rush Hour here on 104.1 KMOX.
When you've been hurt in an accident, you need a law firm that wins.